Good morning, I'm Jerry Carmelis, and here we are again at the Rosebud Continuum, where we have all kinds of sustainability initiatives taking place, like our aquaponics over here and our grow beds, a brand new greenhouse that's going to be installed. We'll talk to you about that in a couple weeks, but for today, I want to talk about a new upgrade to our huge biodigesters that we have on site. These are large-scale concrete digesters. You've seen our community-scale digesters, but these are able to take in a whole lot more food waste that we can get from beef O'Brady's and process that into fuel and fertilizer. But we had a little trouble with how the feeding pipe was going into the digester itself. A lot of backup of food. So Dr. Culhane came up with a really cool idea of using a diagonal approach to the feed pipe, and it is working marvelously. Here he is, Dr. T.H. Culhane.
Hey everybody, it's T.H. Culhane for Solar Cities, the Rosebud Continuum. The Puxin digesters are a fantastic low-cost way to be able to process more food than normally you would be able to process if you were building smaller digesters, and still it's at an economical size. They're 10 cubic meters. The way that Solar Cities has them, working with Puxin Company in Shenzhen, China, we can also build 6 cubic meter and 4 cubic meter tanks out of the same molds. These are 10 cubic meter systems, one above ground, one half buried, and one completely buried. This one, the buried one, will have a toilet over it. The middle one, the wishing well, will have solar panels on top of the structure, showing that when you build a biodigester, you can make use of it. One, if it's buried, you can, as I say, put toilets, put things on top of it and let gravity feed in. The half-buried one acts as a structure. It can look like a nice wishing well, as we've done here. We're growing water plants inside. They're not there yet because we've drained it, but we can grow water, do some aquaponics in there, and you can put solar panels up on top and then store the batteries and store the gas up in the area under the roof. So that's what we're doing here. The one above ground demonstrates that if you can't do any digging at all, you can have a visible, wonderful feature on your landscape. This one, called the Dragon, has a dragon head that was made by the students at Lake High School as a great project. The only issue we faced was the most economical way to make the feed tube. And we thought, and I want to show you over here, we thought that we could get away with simply making a hole using
how long are you going to be with the video?
Make a hole using a bucket as we poured the cement, and then with that nice 12-inch hole, just take cinder block and make a wall so we could pour the food waste in. But what it turned out is food waste floats, and unlike the manure digesters that people were familiar with where you could use a vertical pipe, you can't use a vertical pipe easily with food waste unless you grind it. So in this Dragon here, we use the InSinkErator food grinder, and when you ground the food waste, you can put it down a straight throat, and it will go down into the belly of the beast, because the density of ground food waste is more like the density of water, and it'll stack up. However, when you don't grind, it just floats up and creates a mess. So we did an experiment here that worked out well. As you can see, we made the pipe. We got rid of the vertical feeding tube that we had. We took an 8-inch piece of tubing and we put it down and then surrounded it with cement. And then today, Alejandro and Ricardo made a nice funnel to go in. And then Russell, down the way, our neighbor, made this plunger, which we can use and push the food waste down into the digester so that it can get down there. And then we have what Justin and Brian put in, a mixer with fins in it inside so that we can get good mixing of the food waste. And this works out very successfully. So having done this experiment, now Alex and Ricardo are putting another inclined diagonal feed pipe for the wishing well. This will now be filled up with sand and will just be a stand to get up to the solar batteries up there, and it will work the same way as that. And notice we're just using, they're very clever, they're just using a garden bucket as the form for pouring the cement to make the funnel, as you can see there. And that is going to guarantee now that the food waste can go in. And let me just do one last description of the physics of this for you. The physics of this are such that because food waste floats, when we, and I'll just show you one other thing that we did so we document this. Russell designed a plunger for us with a weight, and there's a pulley. And what we were doing is putting the plunger in and letting the weight push the food waste down. And then you could use the pulley to winch it back up. The problem is the food waste would decay, come through these holes here, and just form a thick sludge on top. And it would wash over, and so there was no way to get this thing up without spilling food waste all over. Even though we could plunge it into the digester, that floating ability of unground food waste and the sludge just made it a messy procedure. It was just terrible. So it was a nice experiment. It did work to get the food waste in, but it was a mess. Now we have the situation where being on an incline, food waste floating goes against gravity. It goes up. Gravity pushes down. The friction of the roof of the pipe stops the food waste from going up further so that food on top, by its weight, can push its way down the tube. So you're letting friction fight the anti-gravity flotation of the food waste, but you're letting gravity push the food down until it gets in. So an incline is always now better as a feed pipe than a vertical, and it's proven itself. So we're very confident that in all Puxins going forward, we will put inclined food waste. We've determined that an 8-inch pipe is the most cost-effective pipe to put in, and that you can use a garden bucket to make your tapered slope. And the form is a tube, is a 12-inch tube?
Yeah.
12-inch tube, cardboard tube.
Yeah.
12-inch cardboard tube around the 8-inch pipe for pouring your concrete. So these, you buy them in hardware stores, the cardboard concrete tubes. 12-inch goes over 8-inch pipe, and then you pour it. And we won't be building these walls anymore. We'll just have it stick out. So that's what we've learned here at Rosebud Continuum. We hope that you will keep joining us on this adventure in creating a zero-waste society. Thank you.